Wow, I somehow managed to get myself caught up in some controversy about a certain book this week. What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. You're with Chris, and today I'll be wrapping up another week as the end of November fast approaches. I had a really good week this week. Even though I only put out one video, it's all good because a lot of my week was taken up with reading the epic that was The Year of the Locust by Terry Hayes. Now, in that video, I go into a fair bit of detail with my review, and I did manage to get caught up in some controversy there. I didn't gauge people's reactions until I finished the book myself. So as soon as I finished that last page, I was straight onto Goodreads to see what everyone else thought about it, and I was surprised to learn that a lot of people didn't finish the book because Terry Hayes made a very, very risky decision as we went into the final part of the book, part 4. It was radical. It turned the whole book on its head, and I said in that video, you'll need to check it out, but and I won't talk too much about it here, but I was shocked with the decision, but I kept reading because by then I was invested in the characters, I was invested in the story, and I just had to find out what happened. And I'm pleased to say that even though things got shook up a fair bit, I think it worked for the character development of the story. And yeah, I do go into a bit of detail as I mentioned, so I won't dwell too much on it, but fantastic book. I think it's going to rank pretty high when I eventually do my best books of 2024. It's going to be a very hard decision. That one's going to rank pretty highly because I did mention at the start of that video that it has to be one of the best standalone thrillers I have ever read in my life, and it's a massive claim, and I back all that up with my views on the book in that video, so be sure to check it out. Alright, now I went ahead and started my next Star Wars EU read, and I did decide to read Red Harvest by Joe Schreiber, the prequel novel to Death Troopers, which I enjoyed a lot. So it made sense to me because I got curious about this virus that got released in Death Troopers, and this goes back a few thousand years, I think, and it explores the origins of this mysterious black flower that is the main ingredient that goes into this insidious disease. And even though I'm only 3 chapters in, I'm enjoying it, and I have to tell you, Darth Scabrous actually scares me a little bit. As a Sith Lord, he appears to be the baddest of the bad, and I'm about 3 or 4 chapters in, but at the same time I'm actually starting, I have started another book at the same time, so something very rare for me. I'm going to be 2-timing the book, so I couldn't resist. This one was sitting here. It is the Jack Ryan number 37 book, Command and Control. It's the last book of the year in the Ryanverse that gets released, and I couldn't help it. I had to start it, guys, because this one is about how President Ryan disappears. He gets abducted, and it started off very well. I'm 100 pages in, and what I love about a thriller, it's a very, very, very smart plot device that gets used more and more often. The opening chapter was during the aftermath of President Ryan disappearing, and I really like that because you get a hint of what's happened, and then when you get into chapter 2 it reverts back to 4 days ago, so it goes through all the events leading up to that first chapter, and I absolutely love that. It is the ultimate in foreshadowing, and it's a fantastic strategy for a book to really hook the readers in. But I don't really need to be hooked in because I'm not a new reader to the series, and Marc is one of my favorite series contributors of all time, and I have complete trust in him, and yeah, can't wait to read more about it. But I think the stakes are pretty high with this one because the president has gone missing, and it's only 2 books ago that Kathy Ryan went missing as well and got kidnapped. So at the start of the book, Kathy is still dealing with the borderline PTSD with those events. It really shook her up, and of course that affects Jack himself, and can't wait to see how things pan out. But yeah, when you lose the president, you can't have a bigger problem than that. Now, both those books, Red Harvest and Command and Control, I'm anticipating that I will finish those by late next week, probably in time so that I can get the 2 review videos out by the end of the week and early into the next week. So watch out for those ones, won't you? But having a real blast at the moment. Okay, now I also finished the last season of Jack Ryan. I absolutely loved it. I love what they did with it. The episodes were had a similar tension to 24. And I just loved where the series went. The only disappointing thing, because it's the last season, I'm a little bit disappointed that it won't continue, because I think the scope for the series could be a lot bigger. And I like how John Krasinski said he wanted to end it on a high note, and it does end with everyone coming back home, and there's a sense of completion there. But one of my favourite things of season 4 was the introduction of Domingo Chavez. Now, a lot of viewers who haven't read the books won't know who he is, but he, in the books, I know him as Ding. He is one of the original Rainbow Six operators. He was also the Special Forces sniper that had a fairly major role in Clear and Present Danger as well, and obviously he was featured in the movie as well. And I think they could have developed him a bit more and could have added him to the team ongoing. And I just think with certain characters, the series could have gone on for at least 5, 6, or even 7 series. And I really wanted to see a cameo from John Clark. He would have been awesome if he came into it at the end and just introduced himself or something like that. I would have loved to have had that Easter egg there, but that was really good. And earlier on, when I first started to watch the series, I was surprised that Kathy's character, played by Abby Cornish in the first series, we learnt that she wasn't an ophthalmologist or an eye surgeon. She was involved in disease control. And I thought, why don't you have her as an ophthalmologist as she is in the books? And as the series went on, it kind of made sense. I got what the producers wanted to do. If there are stakes raised, and if Kathy Ryan was involved in a terrorist plot or something like that, her occupation as an eye surgeon probably wouldn't be relevant. To involve her in disease control, that opens her up for a larger role where she can become in jeopardy or kidnapped or anything in relation to a pathogen that gets released as a terrorist act. So as the series went on, I really it kind of made sense to me. I love John Krasinski in the role. He has made the role of Jack Ryan his own, and I've mentioned before that some actors are helplessly stuck in that mould of an iconic character they've portrayed. For example, Daniel Radcliffe. If I see him in a new role, he's always going to be Harry Potter. It's taken probably a little bit of time for John Krasinski to break the mould of Jim Halpert from The Office, and I loved his character in The Office, don't get me wrong, but when you see John Krasinski playing Jack Ryan, you don't see any recognition of Jim Halpert in him at all. And he did 13 Hours, which was another thriller movie where he played I think he might have been a Navy SEAL, I think, in that one, and it just blows my mind how well he's done. And a recent rumour I've heard, I don't know if this is true, but there's been talk of John Krasinski being playing John McClane in a Die Hard remake. Now, don't get me wrong, I like what John Krasinski has done for himself in terms of branching out with other characters, but him as John McClane, I'm still not sold on it. I'd have to watch the movie and see what I thought, but just sad that Jack Ryan's over, and now I have to find another series that I need to get into. I might rewatch 24, but because I'm really into the CIA stuff and spy thriller stuff, which is awesome. So there we go. Alright, now what else happened this week? I actually have been looking for a while for ways to up my game in editing and developing thumbnails and things like that. And recently, actually only this week, I went out and I got Adobe Photoshop Elements 2024, and I also got myself Adobe Premiere Elements 2024 as well, because I you know, with my editing, guys, for my videos, I have been using HitFilm Express, and as good as it is, I found it very limiting with transitions and things like that. It's there aren't many available. There's not many options that you can use, and I thought, look, I'm going to take a look at Adobe Premiere, and pleasantly surprised, because the actual interface is a lot easier to use. For example, when you cut a clip, you just delete the bit you've cut, rather than going up and picking a selection tool and the scissor tool separately. The scissor tool is embedded into the main screen where your clip is, which is a lot easier. And I found the other thing too, you know how I like to do my animated book posters on my review videos, where I have the frame come up and the book cover zooms out. I found putting that to practice in Premiere was actually quite good, because when I input the component on HitFilm Express, I had to spend a lot of time just adjusting the size of it to get it just right. In Premiere, I would actually paste it in, and I would use the diagonal box to scale it down without having to adjust the height and the width like I have with HitFilm Express. So what that's going to mean for me in the long term is I'm going to be able to get videos edited a lot quicker, and I'm going to be, it will allow me to be a bit more creative with my transitions and special effects and things like that, because you know, I've only scratched the surface. I need to teach myself a little bit more, but I'm really impressed with how it works. And the other thing I like too is with HitFilm Express, when I record a video, I have to set my camera parameters up first every time to make sure that the lighting and the brightness is set to the correct levels. With Premiere, it's a little bit better, because you can, you know, if the camera's not set up properly and the lighting's pretty poor, that's okay. I can go ahead and record a video and then adjust the brightness in Premiere, which is really handy. So I think it's a lot easier to use. Photoshop is fantastic. I'm just learning all the different tools you can use, and exploring a little bit of AI as well. I've had a look at Firefly too, where you ask the AI to generate a picture based on what you're wanting. So for example, I was looking at some things this week where I input, show me some pictures of the White House, for example, and it would bring up 3 pictures in an art form, or a painting, or an actual photo. So it's pretty easy to use, and will just open up a lot more options when it comes to designing my thumbnail pictures and things like that. I can put a lot more effects in place, and I can have a lot more options in touching up my skin tone on my thumbnails, where my face is on the thumbnails themselves. So you can actually touch up the skin tone, and you can have the brightness to just the right level. And yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it, but it is a game changer for me. And this video has actually been edited on Premiere Pro, Premiere Elements, and I'm liking what I'm seeing at the moment. So there you go. What I'd like to finish on before I go is some December reading possibilities. Now, you know, if you've been watching the channel for a little while now, you'll know that I don't do TBRs anymore, or TBR videos, because retrospectively I just haven't stuck to them. So, but what I want to share with you is some reading possibilities I have in mind for December. Now, I was planning on reading Shogun in December. Unfortunately, because my Goodreads target is down a little bit, I want to get that up a little bit and try and achieve it. Now, in order to do that, I can't do Shogun until January next year, which isn't too far away. New Year's Day I'm getting stuck in, but it'll just free up my December so that I can get quite a few more books read. So I plan on hopefully reading Death Note, the whole lot of Death Note, another Vinland Saga manga, volume, and a couple of shorter books to not so much cheat a little bit, but get me ahead so I can have a chance at achieving my Goodreads target of 85 books, which hopefully shouldn't take me too long, but maybe if I struggle I might just force myself to read a couple of Goosebumps books or Hardy Boys or something like that, but we'll see how that goes. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Offer up any comments below and I'll respond to those, but do check out my review video of The Year of the Locust, because it's a book that really stuck with me for days afterwards. You know, I stayed up until, this is Wednesday night, I stayed up until 20 past 12, finishing it. My eyes were popping out of my head, but really pleased to close that last page and just sit back and think about what the book did for me, and spend a little bit of time with that. And it's still resonating with me today. I'm still thinking about things from the book. So, you know, whether I do a spoiler chat on the channel remains to be seen, but got to have a fair bit of time up my sleeve for that, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, that is it. So thank you again, and until the next video, guys, happy reading.